Hello everyone, and welcome to the live stream. I hope that you're all doing good tonight. We're going to be hanging out for a little while, about an hour and a half to 2 hours, talking about a couple of things that, listen, truly and genuinely are so incredibly disappointing. Over the past, week or so, I've been talking quite a bit about Cowboy Bebop and the Cowboy Bebop live-action series that's going on, that's gonna be happening. And there's a little bit of news with that, even though I just did a video today on Cowboy Bebop. Apparently, there is a interview that's resurfacing that came out in 2019 that the creator of Cowboy Bebop did, talking about how he was unsure if Netflix would actually listen to his feedback on the live-action adaptation, which is absolutely ridiculous when you really think about it. Obviously, Netflix had an idea for what they wanted to do. They wanted to do something new, unique, with the times. They wanted to make it as diversified as possible. But you'd think if they had the feedback of the original creator, that they'd actually listen to it. They'd actually care about what that person had to say. And back in 2019, apparently, he was pretty worried. He basically said, I don't know if Netflix is going to take into consideration anything that I've said about it, but I really don't think they will. I have no choice but to pray and hope that it will turn out good. So I want to talk about that. We're going to be talking about Resident Evil Welcome to Raccoon City. Now, yesterday, they released the first pictures of this live-action series that they're doing for this beloved franchise, this amazing franchise that has amazing games. And they released pictures that truly look like the worst cosplay for Resident Evil I've ever seen. We're talking about 2 series, guys, being turned into live actions. Well, it's not like Resident Evil hasn't had that before, but we're talking about a new Resident Evil movie that apparently is rumored to be a trilogy. These pictures look so bad. I do not know why they went with this casting. Like, out of everyone in this universe they could have went with for casting, okay? They picked a woman that looks, I'm sorry, 30 years too old, and a guy that looks nothing, not a zippo, to Leon. Absolutely no resemblance. I'm going to be talking a little bit about China, the world of China in video games. I talk about China quite a bit here on the channel in regards to the video game industry, just because Hollywood's very affected by the Chinese market, and so is video games. Every company wants a slice of the pie. But China is cutting back on children's playtime in video games. China is forcing more restrictions onto people because they are now restricting children to playing video games to only 3 hours a week and 1 hour on Fridays and weekends. This is a definitely not surprising situation, I guess we could say, because China has definitely taken a hard stance against video games and how much children can play video games, but now they're doing it even more, so I want to talk about that, and we're going to be talking about The Mandalorian. There's been a lot of rumors circulating about The Mandalorian, the future of the show, because we do know that Pedro Pascal is signed on to do a Last of Us TV series. We know that he is going to be pretty occupied with that for quite a while, so there's been a lot of worries about what the future holds for The Mandalorian with Season 3, potentially Season 4, but there are a lot of rumors circulating right now that The Mandalorian Season 3 is going to be ending. This is going to be the final season because Lucasfilms can't hold on to Pedro Pascal, they've lost Gina Carano, and they're doing a bunch of spin-offs. They're doing the Ahsoka series, they're doing the Book of Boba Fett series, so it sounds like they're just going to kind of leave it at Season 3, okay? I think that they realize, like we do, whenever The Mandalorian's brought up, there's going to be people bringing up Gina Carano's name. It was a huge situation for them. For everyone, it was a huge situation. And I think that that might have had a hand in why they are deciding to just leave it there and branch off into other, series, go with other storylines, kind of to get away from a little bit of the controversy that's behind The Mandalorian, but those are going to be the topics we're discussing tonight. But before we get started, hello everyone. I hope your evening is going well. How's everyone doing? Brother. More things ruined, more things changed. I'm truly so disappointed when it comes to things like Cowboy Bebop and Resident Evil, because we're talking about big companies that are working on these series, and they could do so much. They have big budgets, they have the reach, they could pick tons of different actors, and instead we end up with situations like this one with Resident Evil, where we end up with 2 people that look nothing like the characters they're supposed to be playing. And with Cowboy Bebop, oh boy, there's been so much with Cowboy Bebop. I mean, we have actors that don't look really like the roles they're supposed to be playing, race swaps, gender swaps. It is a mess. Oof. Let me read chat real quick. I do think that Disney firing Gina Carano definitely wasn't... Okay, so to them it was the smartest move because she didn't follow their politics. They have a clear line of politics that they want their employees to follow, that they follow. So I understand why they fired her, because she didn't follow their political viewpoints. They were afraid of her starting more controversies. But in being worried that someone was going to start a controversy, so you fire them, just makes a controversy. And I think they expected people to be upset for like a couple of days, a little bit, maybe a week, a month at very most, and then kind of get over it. And that really hasn't happened for them. Yeah, a lot of the discussion has kind of died down when it comes to the Gina Carano situation. But when, Mandalorian Season 3 rolls around, and if they do any other seasons, it's going to be talked about. And there's going to be a lot of people that are going to be bringing those things up constantly. What is China gonna do if children don't follow these game time restrictions? Throw the kids in prison? So I've talked about it before on the channel, but what they usually do is they fine parents and they will like cut off internet access and stuff. It's crazy, but it's China. We hear a lot of situations where the Chinese government threatens something and then they do it. There's been talk about them, like, you know, restricting internet access to whole families, even though there are already guidelines for that, but cutting off internet access, fining people, stuff like that, which, I mean, it's China, so it's not very surprising, let's be honest. See you next time, Space Cowboy. Yup. Guys, they're gonna kill Cowboy Bebop. Well, they can't kill the original series, because that'll always exist. But, like, they're gonna kill any future it has being made into anything else. They're also doing a comic series, like a limited run comic series with the release of the Cowboy Bebop live action, which, I mean, is that gonna have original narratives too? They just want to make everything woke and crappy. Well, some people don't think it's crappy, I guess. No one here, but some people don't think it's crappy. Gulag. You know, guys, it doesn't even matter what I say about China. I've already said, like, Taiwan is a country. I've already, like, said fuck the Chinese government. Like, if I ever step foot into China, that's it. GG. You know, Chinese government. So fun, guys. Oh my gosh. Now these are live action cash grabs. I think that there are specific franchises they could turn into live actions. It could be good, or like, there have been times where we've seen animated properties be turned into live actions and them not be that bad. But, like, most of them have not been very good. And there are just so many that they could try to do that would be absolutely terrible, but we'll have to see. I don't know, guys. Listen, okay? I don't want to give Hollywood any ideas. They've already taken enough and fucked enough up. Let's not give them any other ideas. If everyone could not give them ideas in chat, that'd be great. Thanks. Alright, guys, so let's start with the first topic, which is going to be Resident Evil Welcome to Raccoon City. Now, like you guys probably know, a lot of you, I love Resident Evil. I've loved Resident Evil for a very long time now. I've played a lot of the Resident Evil games here on the channel. When Village released, I played that day one. I played day one the Resident Evil 2 remake, the Resident Evil 3 remake. I love Resident Evil. I truly do. And when it comes to seeing Resident Evil movies, TV shows, new games, I'm always interested in what they're going to offer because it's a good franchise. And I think everyone should give it a shot. Try a game, you know, watch one of the movies if we maybe one day get a good one. And with the news that they were going to be doing a couple of Resident Evil movies, TV series, there was a lot of worry around those initial announcements because we know that when it comes to video game movies and TV shows, most of the time, they're lacking. Now, there have been amazing ones, like The Witcher. You know, The Witcher was based off the book, then it was a game, now it's a TV show, and that's great. But there's not a lot of video game movies and shows that are truly and genuinely just chef's kiss. But Sony has revealed the first look at Resident Evil Welcome to Raccoon City. And I wish upon a shooting star in the sky, I wish on the earth that is flat that this didn't exist. I wish that this was an out-of-season April Fool's joke. I truly do. Because when I imagine, like, a new 2022 Resident Evil movie coming out, I expect half-decent quality. And we are not even getting the bare minimum here. We are not even getting, like, Walmart level quality. We are straight up getting Dollar General quality here. So it says Sony Pictures and Constantine Films released a first look at their upcoming Resident Evil film, Resident Evil Welcome to Raccoon City. I think I'll pass. The film will see a couple of actually pretty notable people join. Pirates of the Caribbean actress. There's also The Flash's Robbie Amell taking on the role of Chris Redfield. Now, I actually, where's the picture? Yeah. I actually don't think that he was the worst casting they could have done for Chris, because Chris is a jacked up, kind of on drugs looking guy, and Robbie Amell kind of fits that, in my opinion. I don't think he's a bad actor. I don't think he's necessarily a great actor, but he's not terrible. Like, I guess they didn't do the worst job when it comes to him, but then you see the other casting choices, and then it's like, oh, we were kind of getting somewhere. The film will also star Ant-Man and the Wasp actress as Jill Valentine, with Zombieland Double Tap's actor as Leon Kennedy. Oh boy. Now, I just want to say really quickly before we look at these photos, when I imagine these characters, the main characters for a show, I expect them to be the best, okay? When it comes to main characters, in this case, you know, Chris Redfield, yeah, he's important, but mainly Leon and Claire, also, like, Jill. I expect these characters to be the best casting. Like, they're the stars of the show. They're the reason why people are coming to watch this movie, excuse me. And they got the shit end of the stick. They got the worst fucking castings that these casting people found. Okay? The people who were in charge of casting, fire them. Okay? This is the best that we could get for these characters. Guys, I'm sorry, but this actress looks like she's 30 years too old to play Claire. And he looks nothing like Leon. And I'm not, how do I say this? I'm not expecting, like, perfection when it comes to these, okay? If you pick someone, like, okay, let's take, like, Leon, for example. Leon is, like, a dirty blonde, okay? Let's say his hair was the same color, but they decided to go for a shorter hairstyle instead of a longer hairstyle. If everything else was good, okay, that's, like, not the worst thing in the world. Or, like, Claire's jacket, okay? Instead of it being a super vibrant red, maybe they made it more of a maroon. Now listen, that might be acceptable. But, like, picking an actress who's 30 years too old, that's definitely not the way I would have went. Like, they got her hair color right. They couldn't give her a ponytail like she usually has, but they got the hair color right. The boots look decent. Like, that is literally the equivalent of what we're fucking getting with this. Like, she's got brown hair. and boots. She's also wearing a similar jacket. And with fucking Leon, there's nothing here. There's nothing. There's nothing. Nada. I lied. I'm so sorry. They put the gold badge on his arm. That's a mighty fine job you guys did. I mean, this is the best that we could get. Truly, this is the best that we could get. I'm so massively disappointed. Like, they look like these characters don't even look like they belong in the $5 and under bin at GameStop. They do not. They look like the flea market versions of Leon and Claire. I'm not being nitpicky here because we haven't seen the show. But what is that background? Are we going low budget here? Because this is literally just like a janitor's hallway with like a little bit of dust. Like, okay, it's just a promo image. I'm not going to think too much about it. But judging based off of everything in this image, I'm truly not interested. I don't know what you guys are trying to sell to me, but this is not going to work out. It looks, these actor choices are awful. They are legitimately terrible. So, scrolling down, it says the Umbrella Academy's Tom Hopper will play Albert Wesker, while Captain America: The First Avengers. I actually like who they picked for William. I actually think that he's a pretty good actor. They also picked someone from Gotham for Brian Irons, which, again, I actually don't think that those are the worst castings. I just feel like what they did was do everything backwards. They picked pretty good actors for supporting roles and pretty good actors for less important roles, and they picked the worst actors possible for the lead roles. Resident Evil High School Basement. Porn parodies like better. True. Like, huh? Why did they go with these actors? Like, okay. It's not just about the way that they look that matters. It's the way that they can play characters. And they go on to use that as an excuse. But you have to have people that look slightly like the characters they're supposed to be portraying. But it says, according to Sony, the film will be set in the dying Midwestern town of Raccoon City, where a growing evil is looming beneath the surface. In Resident Evil, Welcome to Raccoon City, once the booming home of the pharmaceutical giant Umbrella Corporation, Raccoon City is now a dying Midwestern town. We already kind of know what this is going to be about, let's be honest. But it says, Roberts noted the film is different from previous Resident Evil films starring Mila Jovovich because it is an ensemble film. He told IGN the difference with this film, as opposed to the previous movies, is that it is an ensemble where each of the main characters carries huge importance to the narrative. They are not just cosplaying characters who have the exact hair and costume of the original characters. It was hugely important with the whole casting process to find people who embodied the spirit and energy of the characters I wanted to portray. So that's the big excuse. We wanted people that could act like these characters, so we didn't care what they looked like on the outside. Which, to a degree, is the way that... Okay, so, yeah, obviously the way that people portray the character is massively important, but at the same time, they have to look somewhat like the characters they're supposed to be playing, and these people don't look like... They're not even in another galaxy! Look like they could be Leon and Claire. I don't know, guys. I'm feeling very disappointed right now. He said that he aims to put the horror back in the Resident Evil films. He's trying very hard to separate this project and this movie from the other movies, But at the same time, he keeps saying it's like he wants to revive it because he's saying, like, I wanted to bring back what the other movies left behind, like horror. So it's either compare yourself and be better or don't compare yourself. He said, I think fans of the games felt the same. They wanted to see the iconic characters and locations and feel the movie was more in line with the Resident Evil game world. So that's really why we chose to go in that direction. Oh yeah, guys. They really are doing us a solid here, making sure that this movie is exactly going back to the roots of the original Resident Evil games. They are truly putting in A+ effort here to make sure that this is exactly like the games. Anyway, that's all that I had to discuss with Resident Evil. I am massively disappointed in this casting. I think that the excuses is probably the worst part. Them coming out and saying, well, we just wanted people who, you know, could play the part. It wasn't about how they looked because it's an excuse. You picked actors that are already facing backlash. I mean, no one seems to be happy with this casting, and you're trying to make up a defense on the fly. Like, oh, it's the inside that matters, and these are great actors. They might be great actors. In my opinion, they do not fit the part of these iconic characters that are going to be the lead characters of this movie. So why would you pick them? Knowing that people wouldn't be happy because they look nothing like the people they're supposed to be portraying. That's all that I had to talk about with this topic. We're going to move into the next one in just a minute, but just know I'm not looking forward to this movie. It sucks because even if it was slightly lower budget and it was like not as good as it could have been, I would have been happy with that. If they had just picked actors that looked slightly like the characters they're supposed to be. But these people look nothing like Claire and Leon, and it's so disappointing too. Guys, Resident Chaotic Neutral. Yeah. Big true. I expected them to not do great, but I didn't expect them to do that bad. And well, guess what we got? The not even bare minimum. I've got a very bad feeling about this. Yup. I've got a very bad feeling about this. I don't think it's gonna go well. I think that it already looks disappointing. I'm not that hyped for it, which, you know, I'm the type of person that would watch this the second it released. I'm a huge fan of the franchise, but the casting looks bad. It looks kind of low budget. Maybe they couldn't pay for any better actors. I don't know. Pretty disappointing. Not gonna lie. Boy, oh boy. Daniela Pineda? I don't think Daniela Pineda is that good looking. I mean, she's not. She doesn't fit the part of Faye. She doesn't look like a Faye. And maybe if they put her in a different outfit and they gave her a more anime accurate outfit, maybe I'd be able to see a little bit more in her. But just take this into consideration, guys. Faye is supposed to be, she's supposed to be from Singapore, and they picked a Mexican-American actress. Imagine if they had made a Caucasian person take the role of a originally Mexican character. I'm just saying. Sheesh. Imagine that backlash. Imagine. Everyone affiliated with that project, they would be cast out, blacklisted. Boy, oh boy. Anyway, guys, let's move into the next topic of the evening. This one's gonna be relatively quick. But whenever there's updates when it comes to the Chinese gaming industry, things that are coming out of China that could end up affecting us down the line in some way, shape, or form, I like to talk about them. And this is another one of those situations because we know a lot of companies in the gaming industry try to pander to the Chinese market. Same with Hollywood and, new movies, entertainment, which I'll actually be talking about that in a video tomorrow. But we see a lot of companies trying to pander to the Chinese audience because they want their games to be able to be sold in the region and they want to make as much money as possible out of that market. But China is restricting children's playing of video games to only 3 hours a week. And you get 1 hour on Fridays now and the weekends. There was already restrictions in place. There have been a lot of restrictions over the years that have slowly but surely gotten worse and worse. In 2019, there was a large limit put into effect for people under 18 when it comes to video games. And now there's an even worse one. So the Chinese government has banned children from playing video games during the week with only an hour a day on Fridays and the weekends. The Wall Street Journal reports that the National Press and Publication Administration announced the ban would be for children playing games Monday through Thursday, and on Fridays, weekends, and public holidays, they can play between 8 p.m. and 9 p.m. It's not even like you get an hour a day when you want to play something. It's not even that. You have to be able to sit down and play at 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. or you play no p.m. to no p.m. Though an age was not specified, Wall Street Journal reports prior video game regulations have been included for those under the age of 18. It's under the age of 18. Their restrictions have always been for under the age of 18, and so if they were updating those, of course, it'd be for under 18. It says, for comparison, in November 2019, China introduced laws limiting how under 18s could play online video games. This included playing them between 10 p.m. and 8 a.m., in addition to a 90-minute per day restriction, or 3 hours per day at weekends and public holidays. There were also spending limits for online games. The spending limit situation has not been updated at all, but we do know there is a limit as to how much you can spend on an account for a child now. You can't, I don't remember exactly what it was. It probably says here. Oh, no, it doesn't. There's no link. But they basically limited how much money you could spend on a game every week. But it says even an adult is likely to struggle thanks to their social credit system. That policy grants perks for good citizens and restrictions on bad citizens, publicly named and shamed or banned from using public transportation, and playing games for too long could be deemed being a bad citizen compared to finding a way for helping the local community. The law was designed to curb video game addiction, along with distracting them from school, family responsibilities, and calling other societal ills. I personally think that this is complete and utter fucking bullshit. I believe that it is a parent's job to limit how much a child plays a video game. If you have a kid that, you want to only play video games an hour a day, put on parental controls. That's why they exist. And then they can't play more than an hour a day. And if you're okay with your kid playing 5 or 6 hours a day, if, they've done their schoolwork, that's a parent's decision. In my opinion, I think that it's absolutely fucking ridiculous that a government is saying, well, you can't make a decision for your kid anymore. Actually, we're going to tell you what your kid can and can't do, and what you can and can't do. I understand that video games can take away from, children learning things in school. Sometimes kids will not pay attention as much if they want to go play a video game. They'll accidentally skip homework, or, they might be slacking. But again, I think it's a parent's decision to say, hey, you can only play X amount of hours a day. I agree with Christopher. It's not the government's job to raise your kids. But it says Chinese tech giant Tencent recently lost almost $60 billion in stock value after Chinese state media's Economic Information Daily described online as a spiritual opium. I think that the whole video games and gaming disorder thing, I think it's pretty BS. You can get addicted to anything, okay? If you have an addictive personality, you can get addicted to anything. To, fidgeting with something. You can get addicted to drugs. You could get addicted to walking too much, over-exercising. You can get addicted to literally anything if you have that sort of personality. I don't think that online games are a form of spiritual opium, at least in my opinion. There's not really any research to back up these claims. Talked about it 100 times now. But it says how the law will be enforced was also not explained, and the Wall Street Journal reports that Tencent had previously automatically kicked players off of their games when they had played for too long via China's real name registration law for internet access and facial recognition. There are a lot of systems in place in China that make it so you do get kicked off instantly, like it says. Some large platforms do have timers. It'll kick you off, like it locks your account if you try to spend more money than you're allowed to every week, stuff like that. I think it's really fucking ridiculous. But it says, a news agency praised the move as the government's aiming to effectively protect the physical and mental health of minors. The move will surely have massive effects on the Chinese gaming industry and those hoping to market their games in China. I still think that a lot of companies are going to still try to pander to the Chinese market. I do, because there's still a shit ton of money to be made there. Even if a kid can only buy $50 of things a week, a month, it doesn't matter. That's still $50 to them. And there's still adults that can spend their money, play what they want to play, do what they want to do. And I wish that I could sit here and say I think that this is going to deter companies from the Chinese market, but I really don't think it's going to have any effect. I don't think they're going to say, ah, shit, okay, well, I guess we gotta wrap up shop in the Chinese market. It is still a massive market for them. It says, we have also seen several games with a more Western appeal being developed by Tencent's, I don't know how to say it, TIMI Studios, Timey Studios, maybe, including Metal Slug Code, Pokemon Unite. Contract disputes with Tencent lead to Amazon Games canceling their Lord of the Rings MMO. Tencent's portfolio includes ownership of Riot Games, Sumo Digital's parent company, 80% of Grinding Gear Games, 40% in Epic, 29% in Funcom, 5% in Activision Blizzard, even though it's rumored to be much higher, 5% in Ubisoft, 5% in Paradox Interactive, a major investment in Platinum Games, a majority stake in Keel Entertainment, a major shareholder for Marvelous, a minority stake in Don't Not Entertainment, and others. I've talked about it time and time again. Tencent is a massive company, and they do have a lot of influence in the gaming industry in general. While this doesn't affect us, obviously this doesn't affect us, it's still worrying because we know that companies are still going to choose the Chinese market and still make games that pander to the Chinese market. At the end of the day, the problem is that companies are never, ever, ever going to stop unless China straight out bans video games. Unless China says no more video games, no more of this form of entertainment, companies just aren't going to care. And ultimately, I'd love for companies to just say, you know what, we're just going to start making games that the Western market cares about again, because that'd be great. But we know that's not going to happen, and, companies are gonna keep bending over backwards to fucking pander to the Chinese market. But that's all that I really had to discuss with that topic. We'll move into the Mandalorian one in just a minute. Tencent really needs to be erased. Tencent is a massive company that will never just be erased. I do not think. Ever. At least for a very, very, very long time. Yeah, companies are addicted to that Chinese love juice. It's very true. It really is. They see it as a giant market that they can keep making money in. So it's not like I blame them for wanting to make money. But I do blame them for censoring stuff and for not making games that people in, like, the West want. Yeah. It's rough because I know a lot of people don't really care about news when it comes to the Chinese industry, but I think that more people should actually care. Because, look at a company like Tencent, they do have a say in games that are released that we are playing today. Whether you play a Riot game, or a Blizzard game, or a Platinum Games title, doesn't matter. They still have a say in a lot of content that's being released right now. But, you know, Tencent is huge. Tencent is massive. And they just keep slurping up companies like there's no freaking tomorrow. And I don't think it's gonna stop. I really, really don't. There are a lot of rumored purchases that they're planning to make. And we'll see if any of them go through. But so far, there's been a ton of giant companies that they've acquired. But alright guys, let's move into the next topic of the evening, which is gonna be The Mandalorian. Now, as all you guys know, I'm sure, I do really love Star Wars. Star Wars, in my opinion, used to be magical, used to be great, amazing, fantastic. But, unfortunately, ever since Disney purchased Lucasfilm, we've seen a giant shift in Star Wars content. The franchise, in my opinion, has really gone downhill, and I wish that it wouldn't. Because I do love Star Wars, but we can't change the past. We can't change the way that companies like Disney are going. And The Mandalorian was a show that was pretty good at first. Season 1 was okay. I wasn't in love with it, but I thought that it was pretty freaking good. And Season 2 was also pretty good. I mean, there were a lot of decent moments in it. We had a lot of large appearances, like, spoiler alert, Luke freaking Skywalker. But after Disney decided to fire Gina Carano, there's been a lot of information that's up in the air when it comes to The Mandalorian, the future of the series, because while she wasn't the lead character, she was one of the lead characters. She played a very important character in the series. And now we know that Pedro Pascal is, I don't want to say ditching Disney, but like kind of ditching them to go and work on a Last of Us TV series. So right now, there's a lot of rumors floating around about the future of The Mandalorian, and this is one of them, that The Mandalorian Season 3 is reportedly ending the series. Would this be surprising if The Mandalorian ended after Season 3? No, it really wouldn't be that surprising. Disney expected the Gina Carano situation to fade into the distance, okay? They expected the Gina Carano situation to be the talk of the town for maybe like a couple days, a week, a month at very, very, very most. And everyone's still talking about the Gina Carano situation. And it has died down a little bit, but I think as Season 3 is going to release, there's going to be a ton of Gina Carano talk. If they do a Season 4 or a Season 5, there is controversy surrounding this show now. They fired her hoping to avoid controversy, yet they started a ton of controversy themselves by firing her. But I want to read this Inside the Magic article and then quickly reference a We Got This Covered one. So it says, ever since The Mandalorian first graced television screens when Disney Plus debuted it on November 12, 2019, Star Wars fans, and even those who have never seen a Star Wars movie or series before, haven't been able to get enough of, you know, The Mandalorian, Grogu, Din Djarin. Pretty good characters. I was excited to see Baby Yoda. I thought that was actually a really cool, interesting direction they were taking the show in, and having, you know, this bounty hunter carrying around Baby Yoda seemed kind of unique. You know, you wouldn't expect him to do that, yet he's a bounty hunter with morals. Good for him. But, well, they had to go and fuck it all up because it's Lucasfilm. You know? Are we surprised? No, I don't think anyone is. So Grogu in particular has become a pop culture phenomenon, but now it seems like our time with the tiny 50-year-old infant and his various companions. could be drawing to an end. A new report indicates that the upcoming third season of The Mandalorian will be the end of the series. It is, however, important to immediately note that this remains unconfirmed by either Lucasfilm or the Walt Disney Company, and the actor who plays Moff Gideon has previously indicated that there could be 4 seasons of the hit Star Wars series. We don't know if this is true, so of course, please take it with a grain of salt. This is a rumor, a report. It's not real as far as we know. But we know that they're planning to go in a direction of a lot of spin-offs. That's why I believe that they could end up, ending the show, because even though a lot of people really love The Mandalorian so far, season 3 is going to be pretty different. And they're not, how do I say this? It doesn't sound like they really had a plan if they had fired Gina Carano. And it doesn't really sound like Pedro Pascal was planning to stay around for very long. Okay, so if they're losing 2 of their lead actors for the show, yeah, there's other minor characters they could lead on, but those are the 2 main characters. Like, if they're kind of gone, what are you going to do? What direction are you going to go in? I do think having Luke Skywalker at the end of season 2 was a bombshell. That was an amazing moment for Star Wars fans because we saw a character that everyone really loves. We were excited to know what the story was going to be. What was the future of all of these characters going to be now that he's involved? Was he going to have a larger role in the show? Was he only going to have, 1 more appearance in the next season? We didn't know. But right now, it wouldn't be that surprising if they decided to end the series there because they're doing multiple spin-off shows. They are doing They're doing the Ahsoka show, which we know has a lot of hype behind it. A lot of people are very excited for because Ahsoka's always been a pretty cool character. I actually didn't like her at first watching the Clone Wars, and then she started kind of, wearing me down. But the Ahsoka show already has a ton of hype behind it. And then we found out that they were going to be doing the Book of Boba Fett, which again, really, really cool concept. We've got characters and actors returning that we are all really excited to see. That's supposed to be releasing relatively soon. And then they ended up canceling Rangers of the Republic when Gina Carano was fired because apparently she was going to be the lead in that. They had said right after they fired her that, it was still up in the air and they weren't sure if they were going to cancel it or not, but now it's been officially canceled. But a big problem with The Mandalorian was the situation with the actors, and this was an article from March. Lucasfilm reportedly worried about Pedro Pascal leaving The Mandalorian. It says, over the past few years, Pedro Pascal had successfully transformed himself into one of the internet's favorite actors. Listen, I'm going to be honest, the only thing I've ever liked him in, besides The Mandalorian, because I thought he did a decent job and it was Game of Thrones. I mean, his character was very short-lived, but I thought he did a pretty good job in that. But I didn't like him in We Can Be Heroes, fucking dumb movie. Wonder Woman 1984, fucking dumb. And now they're worried, they were reportedly worried because he signed up to lead HBO's much-anticipated The Last of Us TV series. I don't think that Pedro Pascal is a bad actor. I don't like a lot of the projects or the roles that he plays. And when it comes to The Last of Us, again, I don't really know if he's the right fit to play a character in it, or at least the main character in it. It says, apparently, though, Pascal's increased fame and fortune is causing Lucasfilm to worry about whether they can keep him on board their current jewel in the crown for a long run. An insider has shared to his Patreon page that the studio is looking to lock down the actor for an unstated amount of future seasons for The Mandalorian because they're scared they might lose him if The Last of Us takes off for HBO. And I do think The Last of Us is going to do pretty good for HBO. Do I think it's going to, blow out of the park Netflix and be, this giant show for HBO? No, but I do think it is going to do relatively good. It's got a massive budget. It's got pretty good actors behind it. I do think that it's going to be a pretty good show. Maybe, possibly, probably not, actually. But I think it's going to be, you know, pretty important for HBO. HBO is desperate for content right now. But they didn't even sign Pedro Pascal for multiple seasons at a time, which is kind of odd, because when you're signing, you know, an actor for a show, or you want to do a show for many, many seasons and you expect it to be large, like The Mandalorian, you'd think that they would have signed him for multiple seasons. And apparently they didn't. I don't know exactly, you know, how they're doing it behind the scenes. I guess they're just doing it season by season. But when we see a lot of giant shows, usually they don't do that. Like, look at Game of Thrones. They signed all of those main actors for seasons upon seasons. But apparently Disney is not doing that when it comes to Star Wars, The Mandalorian. And he just decided to secure his future, which I'm not blaming him for. If he got an amazing offer for The Last of Us, good for him. You do whatever you want. I don't like him, like, when it comes to his real personality outside of acting. I don't think he's a terrible actor, but I also don't think he's a great guy. I mean, he fucking shits on everyone that doesn't have the same political opinion as his. But the future of The Mandalorian is definitely worrying. I think a lot of people are going to boycott season 3. I think that Disney is going to face a big problem when it comes to season 3, because after they fired Gina Carano, a lot of people did cancel their subscriptions. A lot of people will no longer give this show another shot, especially when it comes to the next season, season 3. But I think it was pretty fucking stupid of them to not sign a main actor, unless they didn't really think it was going to go on for that long, unless they genuinely were only going to go like 3 seasons with it. I think it's pretty stupid that they didn't sign the main actor, but there is a rumor circulating right now that The Mandalorian could end after season 3. They're worried about Pedro Pascal because he is moving on to other shows and films, and I guess ultimately we'll have to see what happens, but, I mean, fuck you, Disney. I don't really care. The Mandalorian season 1, season 2 were pretty good. Not a lot of hope for season 3 right now. I'm feeling very unhyped about it, and I know a lot of other people are as well. I think that it was absolutely freaking ridiculous that they fired Gina Carano just because she had her own political opinions, and yeah. I'll check chat for a couple of minutes, and then we'll move on to the final topic of the evening, which is going to be Cowboy Bebop. The Last of Us is dead on arrival. Just wait. It might be. I think, though, I do think that it's... So, the first Last of Us game is very beloved. I thought the first Last of Us game was great. Game 2 was pretty freaking bad. But I think a lot of people that were fans of 1, that were fans of 2, are all going to come together and watch this new show. I think season 1 of The Last of Us will definitely be pretty big. That's just my guess. I don't have any insider information. There's been no projections released, but I think season 1 at least of The Last of Us show is going to do good. Because it's starting at the beginning. It's not like starting with like season, or it's not starting at like the second game. It's starting at the first game. So I think that it's going to draw a lot of people in. We'll see though. Pedro may have only signed on for a short deal to have freedom. That's true. I mean, that could be the case, but it doesn't really sound like they hired anyone long-term or signed anyone long-term, which, again, I just think is kind of stupid. Pedro is not Joel, never will be. I agree. I really, really, really don't see him being a Joel. Pedro Pascal does have quite a large range of emotions that he can do when it comes to acting. I think that he does have pretty good acting qualities in some cases. But I just don't see him being that character at all. I just really, really don't. Like, maybe he'll do good. I'm not sitting here saying I hope it instantly fails, because I like to give things a fair chance. I want to see a little bit of content before I start judging, even pictures, whatever. I'm not feeling super hopeful about it right now. But really quickly, guys, before we move into the next topic, if you're enjoying the live stream, make sure to give it a like. If you're not, give it a dislike. I appreciate your support either way. Consider donating via Streamlabs. All donations pop up. $3 or more text-to-speech activates. Check out the links in the description. Consider becoming a member of the channel, becoming a Dark Titan via Patreon. Thank you for being here, for hanging out, and we'll move on to Cowboy Bebop in just a minute. Pedro wearing a helmet most of the time means they can more easily replace him. Yeah, the thing is, though, is it's just... I don't see them doing a whole season or multiple seasons where you've got this character only wearing his helmet. And I understand he's a Mandalorian, he's going to be wearing his helmet most of the time. But we saw from season 1 to season 2 a pretty large increase in how much he was not wearing the helmet. So, they could replace him. I don't know if it would work out very well. We'll see, though. Josh Brolin for Joel. Ooh, that's gonna be a hard pass for me, Christopher. That is the hardest pass ever. Hardest pass. Sheesh. Y'all are crazy. Josh Brolin, you're gonna go LOL, just kidding. There are some good actors that they could pick, truly, for... there are some good actors that they could pick to play Joel. It's just, I just don't see Pedro Pascal being it. Like, I'd love to be positive and be hopeful. I just don't see it. I don't know. Let me scroll up really quickly. Last of Us will be good if they do not mention Abby in it. Well, it's supposed to be starting at the first game, so Abby wouldn't probably come into play until, like, season 2. Depending on how quickly they move the series along, maybe the first season will only be half the first game. Maybe it'll be the whole first game. Who knows? But I mean, yeah, if we could, like, completely forget about that character, that'd be fantastic. Because I fucking hate Abby. Maybe Carl Urban? I need to look at a picture of him and really think about it. I mean, maybe? I don't know. Very, very hot take. I'm not a huge fan. He's an okay actor. I'm not the biggest fan of him, so maybe that's a little bit where my bias comes in. Maybe he could. I don't know. There's no one good that I can think of that I'm instantly like, oh, hell yes. Adrian Brody. Oh, hell no. Oh, hell no. Nikolai Coaster, well, oh, he was, Game of Thrones, right? He was, Jaime. I think that he's a very good actor. I do not think that he would be Joel, though. Like, he's a very good actor. Like, I wish he'd be in more movies. Not it for Joel. No. I'm a picky woman. He's not it. I know it when I saw it. And that's not it. I don't know, guys. Jason Statham, Mandalorian. Oh, hell yes. Woo! Better sign on quick. That'd be pretty poggers. He could Thanos snap Abby out of existence. You can't Thanos snap Abby out of existence if she doesn't exist in the first place. That'd be great, though. Listen, I I don't want to talk about The Last of Us Part 2. Guys, we're going to move on to the final topic of the night, which is Cowboy Bebop. Yay! Such a better topic. I know everyone's so excited about the new Cowboy Bebop live action remake. I know you guys are just so excited. I'm so happy to provide. I'm glad I am the provider for this community. Okay, guys, I am willing to tell you about your favorite new series. Now listen, guys, I've been talking a lot about Cowboy Bebop lately, but I just am so ticked off about everything that's happened surrounding this series. I really do love Cowboy Bebop, and I think that it is so important that if they release this, they do it right, and unfortunately, it doesn't sound like Netflix is going to even try when it comes to this series. And there's a little bit more unfortunate news that I'm not going to do a full video on, but I wanted to talk about in this live stream, because I've been covering Cowboy Bebop a lot, and this is not brand new information. This is regarding an interview that was done back in 2019, but it's kind of resurfacing now. Robert Pattinson, Quantum, you can, look at the door and kick yourself out of it. Cowboy Bebop's creator was unsure if Netflix will listen to his feedback on the live-action adaptation. I have no choice but to pray and hope that it will turn out good. You would think, if you're a massive company like Netflix, and you had a project that you were working on, and the original creator of the franchise, sat down and gave you a bunch of ideas, a bunch of feedback, you'd think that you would listen to that feedback. If I was creating something like a show and the original creator gave me his feedback, I would take that into such consideration. I would care so much about that advice. And he literally turned around and said, I have no choice but to hope and pray that it's gonna be okay. So the red flags continue to fly for Netflix's Cowboy Bebop, as thanks to a recently resurfaced interview, original anime series creator can be read confirming that his involvement in the upcoming live-action adaptation was so limited that all he can do is pray and hope that it'll turn out good. This is so disappointing to read. I didn't know that this interview existed. I've been covering Cowboy Bebop for quite a while now. Last year, when we got information about race swaps and gender swaps, I talked about it. When we found out that Faye was going to be toned down and censored, I had talked about it. But I didn't know about this interview, but apparently it is out there, and it is real fucking depresso espresso. So it says he broached the subject of his involvement in Netflix's upcoming live action during a 2019 interview with a Japanese pop culture news outlet, where he recently brought back to public attention, courtesy of YouTuber Hero High, in which the two discussed the esteemed director's past portfolio and his various upcoming projects. In the course of the interview, Takahashi eventually turned to ask him about his level of involvement with the then recently announced Blade Runner Black Lotus animated series, which listed the director as a creative producer. Guys, I love me some Blade Runner. Black Lotus, though, we'll see. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. It says, his most recent directorial work was too hectic, and I am only loosely involved in the new Blade Runner series. Thank you for the $15 donation. Much appreciated. Thank you, thank you. He told Takahashi, I provided my opinions on the early concept, but that's about it. The directors, I do not know how to pronounce these. I'm sorry. Kenji and Shinji. So I left my expectations with them. He then asked the director if this arrangement was the same with the live-action Cowboy Bebop, to which he confirmed that's right. I read the initial concept and provided my opinions, he explained, but I'm not sure if they will be reflected in the final product. I think that if they could have gotten his opinions, his feedback, and actually ran with it, I think that this show would probably be much better. I'm gonna be honest. We haven't seen it yet. Maybe it'll be amazing, fantastic, perfect, the best thing since sliced cheese was created. But I think we're not expecting that. And I think that this does sound really worrying. It looks really worrying. I mean, that's clearly the position Daniela Pineda did to get the role. Following up on the director's seeming lack of confidence in Netflix's adaptation, he then next inquired, as the original creator, how would you feel if what you saw, in the original scenario pitch and what was broadcasted differed? He said that would leave a sour taste in my mouth. However, for example, he also reasoned, when transitioning a manga to an anime, if the original author speaks out on various points, it makes the work for the anime staff and it won't necessarily make it a good product. I think that it does matter, though. I really do think that his opinions matter. And maybe Netflix doesn't give a singular fuck about his opinions. To me, that's really shitty because he was the one who created it. And his opinions do matter. It says also for Cowboy Bebop, I don't have any right to stop it. Those rights are in the hands of Sunrise. So if you have a complaint, please send it to them. I mean, I think that that's pretty fucking funny because it's so true. It's not his fault that everything now is being ruined, taken, and tampered. And when it comes to this Netflix Cowboy Bebop series, I just think that a big problem is the fact that they're doing an original narrative and they're changing things to what they want them to be, to reflect their brand of activism. They're creating what they want to create, and they don't care if real fans of Cowboy Bebop like it or not. While yes, I explain this in all of my videos, I think that it's fine if they add context to situations, if maybe they add a couple of extra scenes, if maybe they slightly change things. But when they're saying we're going to have an original narrative in the series and they're going to change a bunch of things and they're actively changing things like race swaps, gender swaps, outfits, the way that characters act, their personalities, they're changing the narrative of the show, I think that that is very worrying. And I think that this show is not going to turn out the way that people hope. Yes, there are a lot of people that are still really hopeful for this, that think it's going to come out and be amazing. And I'm sure the social justice warriors of the world will love this because it's diverse and inclusive. And diversity and inclusivity are great things. But Netflix is taking the show and taking everything Cowboy Bebop out of it and putting in all the bullshit that they want. They're doing everything they can to say, look at us, guys. We took this animated property, made it into a live action, and it's diverse, it's inclusive, it's for new audiences. They're shoving activism into it. They're taking a product, ripping everything out so it's a shell of the product it once was, and they're shoving in everything they want. And to a certain extent, yeah, it's going to be different, okay? Sometimes things just aren't going to translate properly. Sometimes you have to change slight dialogue and you have to add more scenes and add more context. That's fine to add things. But when you start taking away important elements of something, that is where you're going to lose a lot of people with this project. And I just don't think it's going to go very well. But guys, that's all that I really had to discuss tonight. We talked about Cowboy Bebop, Mandalorian, China restricting gameplay, and also Resident Evil Welcome to Raccoon City. I'm going to hang out for a little bit longer. Probably another 15 minutes or so. So if you guys have any questions you want me to answer, leave them in chat, or any topics you want me to discuss, leave them in chat as well. If you're enjoying the live stream, please give it a like. If you're not, give it a dislike. Consider donating via Streamlabs. All donations pop up. $3 or more text-to-speech activates. But thank you guys for being here. Netflix is counting on hate watching their crappy Cowboy Bebop series. They probably are counting on hate watch, social justice watchers. They're counting on people to watch for such the wrong reasons. They're not expecting real Cowboy Bebop fans to watch. It's like they do these projects just to piss people off and to get those hate clicks, which is absolutely fucking pathetic. Watch them blame the fans if/when it... Yeah. They will blame the fans and attack people when this shit fails. 100% guaranteed. It's like, look at the situation with Volition and Saints Row. I talked about that 2 days ago, or yesterday, excuse me. When that game fails, they're going to look at fans and be like, why didn't you buy our game? We made it just for you. I do agree, Super. I think that many people have no hope for live action Cowboy Bebop, but I do think that there are still people who are pretty hopeful, who are, you know, saying maybe, just maybe, it'll turn out well, it'll turn out okay. I want it to be good. I'm not sitting here saying I want it to fail, but I want it to be a half decent product, and it's not going to be, let's be honest. Who would be a good fade? Daisy Ridley. Quantum again. The door is over here. You may see yourself out. Daisy Ridley is a shit actress. Guys, I used to think maybe, just maybe, it was the role, okay? I thought Star Wars, maybe she just got a bad, it was just, you know, it was it. It was the writing. It was how they wanted her to act. I was hopeful. And then Ophelia came out. That was pretty bad. Chaos Walking came out. Dog trash. Dog water. That movie was so fucking confusing for the wrong reasons. That was like... that was a movie where you could guess the ending. Oh my gosh, surprises in the first 10 minutes. And then they hype... I don't want to spoil it for you guys, but if you're going to watch it, drink a lot of alcohol before you watch it. Do something to affect your enjoyment, or else you are going to waste, what, 2 hours of your life. That movie, the movie about aliens, that had one alien. Well, alien. Quote unquote. What a fucking ride that was. Who could play Faye? I mean, honestly, there are a lot of Singaporean actresses that could do it, because Faye's supposed to be Singaporean. There's a lot of good actresses they could have picked. There really is. I don't know anyone off the top of my head. I don't know anyone off the top of my head. Anyway, the Joel situation. I honestly, I do not know. You know who would have made a good Joel? And I only know this guy because he's listen. Okay. I know this guy because I saw him in like one movie once that was half decent. He's been in a lot of other really random shit that like I have no interest in, like Grey's Anatomy, Virgin River. He was in like one random movie. Oh, The Ring. That was it. It was The Ring. Anyway, Martin Henderson, okay? This guy would have been, let's not, why Google? I don't want to see this guy shirtless. He would have been a good Joel. This guy, I found Joel! Like, he actually looks like he could be a Joel. I don't think he's that bad. But they decided to go with, again, Pedro Pascal. He's been in a couple good things. Like, he's acted fine in some good things. He's just not, he's not Joel. Okay? He's just not. A young Jessica Alba could have played Faye Valentine. How old is Jessica Alba? First of all. 40? Oh my god. You know, I actually don't fully disagree. Obviously, she looks fine for her age now, but looking at a picture of her when she was like 30 years old, I mean, yeah. She could have pulled off a Faye. She could have, yeah. I remember that guy, but his career has been... what has this guy even done? Martin... I literally... I don't know who this guy is. Besides, like, he's been in, like, a couple of things. Like, he looks like he could be a Joel. At least I think. I do not know who this actor is. TNN. Let me look. Nah. He's not a Joel. He looks like the dollar store Jesus. He really does. It's gonna be a no from me. Jack Black for Joel. Please don't give them any ideas. They're gonna recast. I actually had that weird feeling at first that Pedro Pascal, he was gonna be recast. I don't know why. I just had this odd feeling like there's no way that he's gonna stay in this project. That guy was in a motorcycle movie. Can't remember the name now. Remember Jessica and Dark Angel? Ooh. Yeah. Yeah, I could have seen it. I mean, she looks great for her age, but she's not a Faye anymore. Julie Tan? Who? Oh, okay, I've seen her before, yeah. Yeah, I mean, she wouldn't be a bad choice. There are a lot of different Singaporean actresses that could play her. But they chose Daniela Pineda. Yeah, she's really pretty. I don't know, guys. We're never gonna get these castings, so all we're doing is breaking our hearts. Hurting our emotions. I don't know, guys. We're never gonna get any of these people. Sheesh. Guys, you wish. You wish, don't you? You guys have some interesting suggestions, though. My search history, guys. Look at this search history now. It's filled to the brim with actor ideas. Hold on a second. I can't just show images. I have to turn safe search on. Sorry, guys. Daniela Pineda is apparently a very spicy actress. This outfit is just so bad. It's just so bad. Like, she's not a awful looking actress. Don't get me wrong. Why is that not Faye? Like, that is literally her. Why did they go with this 13-year-old emo kid scene haircut in color? It's just like, it's the haircut for me. Okay, do they not know her haircut? Like, do these motherfuckers not know what a A-line bob is? It's not that hard. You take that, okay? You take that, you make it purple. Hold on. Purple A-line bob. Oh my. What? What? That hair exists? Oh my gosh. What? Oh my gosh. Like, it's really not that hard. Like, literally, they could have just given her a fucking purple A-line bob. Instead, they went with this, like, it's just the haircut's off. It just, They gave us no substance. Like, imagine the okay, even if they did the purple hair and slicked her hair back like that, it'd be 10 times better. And the headband! I've said the headband, it pisses me. Why can't you just give her a stupid yellow headband? Is it really that... Does it really break the bank? So dumb. Bear's about to supernova. Don't fucking ruin a character's hair, okay? Listen. We need to have a talk. I know my hair is natural, and I know I'm like a goddess from the sun, but listen. I could have made her hair better, and I've never set foot in a hairstyling school. Like, my hair is so long, I could give Daniela Pineda extra, okay? And they went with the worst haircut they could have for her. I guess they could have shaved her hair. So I guess it's not the worst. But, like, the cut is off. I guess maybe the color in better lighting might look a little better. It just looks slightly too dark. It looks like they went black and did, like, a purple undertone. Like, they filled her hair with purple before they dyed it black. I'm just not impressed. They should have made her outfit yellow. Minimum changes. Given her an... They should have given her the A-line bob, which is what that haircut is called, guys. They should have given her the purple A-line bob, given her a headband, made her outfit yellow. Even if they gave, you know, the tights, how they're black, even if those black tights stayed, given her the white boots. I don't know, guys. Apparently it's too hard. Guys, cosplayers with $100 can do a better job with Netflix than Netflix with fucking $1 million, okay? She's not Faye. Like, I don't think that she necessarily would be, like, the worst. I just don't think that she is the best. Like, look at her there. And then look at her here. Like, that's a strong, confident woman. And she actually looks like she's got... Not that. That's sad. That is CW level. You know, guys, this Cowboy Bebop live action might fail, but at least she'll have a perfect spot in CW headquarters after. Like, is this like her, you know, auditioning for CW? Because she's gonna do a fire job. I don't know, guys. Pretty disappointing in my opinion. They could have done so much, yet they just decided to give us so little. But guys, that's all that I really had to discuss for tonight's live stream. I am going to end the stream in just a second. Thank you all so much for stopping by tonight. I do really appreciate it. If you guys enjoyed the live stream, please make sure to give it a like, share it, subscribe to the channel. If you didn't, give it a dislike. I appreciate your support either way. Thank you for the donations tonight, you guys. If you enjoy the content, please consider becoming a Dark Titan via Patreon for just $1 a month, or supporting via memberships. You get access to exclusive emotes. You have access to a special channel in our Discord server. Join our Discord. It's in the description. We're very active there. I tag you all when I go live in case YouTube doesn't notify you of the live streams. The next time I will be streaming is Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern. I will be streaming a brand new indie game called Song of Iron that released. A single developer made it, so I really want to check it out, show it off, and hopefully have a couple of hours of fun with it. And then over the weekend, I'm going to be starting a new game. I think that maybe, not confirmed, that I might stream the first Halo game. I don't know. We'll see. I'll let you all know on Thursday. And in Discord. A-line Bob, I learned my thing for the day, thanks. Now I can go back to being a dumbass. Well, I'm glad I could, you know, teach you guys something today. That is called an A-line Bob. Alright? It's the kind of original Karen haircut, but Faye wore it. You know, what can you do? You have to go for accuracy. Anyway, guys, Give the stream a like if you enjoy. Check out the links in the description. Thank you all so much for stopping by. Check out today's video also if you did not see it. And have a fantastic evening, everyone.